Hi, my dear lovely students. How are you doing? Welcome to this session. So, this class is going to be very interesting as we are going to talk about a very important concept which is very frequently tested in exams. So, we are going to talk about pronouns associated errors and pronoun ambiguity. So, you can already see the agenda for today. We will talk about pronouns, we will talk about rules related to pronouns usage that you should know. Also, we will talk about pronoun ambiguity. We are going to learn some rules associated with pronoun ambiguity. We are going to pick a lot of examples and then we are going to have a small questionnaire to check that whether you have understood the concept or not. So, my name is Juhi Nerula and I'm elated to begin the session with you. So, let's get started. Before we actually get into the nitty-gritties, let's try and understand that what do we mean by pronouns. So pronouns in simple terms can also be called replacers. What do we mean by replacers? Words that can be used instead of nouns. So every time I would just not like to repeat the noun. Instead, I will use the words like I, we, they, he, she, them, us, we. And why are we doing it? Just to avoid repetitiveness, right? So we don't want to sound repetitive and we would avoid that. We would want to use pronouns instead. So it's not a new concept to you, but this is one concept which you will find being tested in GMAT, you will find it being tested in SAT, and practically any exam which has got grammar in it. So let's quickly see some examples and learn about pronouns more. So take a look at the first sentence which you can see in the examples. Jaipur is called the pink city of India. It is a beautiful city. So Jaipur is basically a noun and you're replacing it with it. All right, so it refers to Jaipur. So it is basically a pronoun in this sentence. Take a look at the next one. Juhi is a trainer. She teaches verbal ability. So I am the one. And instead of Juhi, we are using she. So she is a pronoun in this case. Cricket is my favorite sport. It is very exciting. So it is referring to cricket. Danny is a loyal friend. He is always ready to help. So he is referring to Danny, right? So in all these sentences, we can see that pronouns are being used to replace the nouns. I hope we are clear with the definition. Fundamental clarity is needed, right? If you're going to just work on the concepts without knowing basic definitions, then you are going to find yourself in trouble, which we would really not want. Further, when we proceed, let's learn about subject pronouns. So when I say I am a trainer, I is acting as a subject in the statement. That means who are we talking about? You are a trainer. You is the subject. We are trainers. We is the subject. He is a trainer. He is the subject. She is a trainer. She is the subject. It is an interesting concept. So it is the subject. So all these examples that we have taken into consideration, we have used the pronouns I, you, we, he, she, it, they as subject. So that is the reason we have given it a special name calling subject pronouns. Now, if I say Sally emailed me, it is your company, right? Or if I say this book is ours, this is his car, it is her dress, it is their umbrella. So here we are using the pronouns as object pronouns. So object means uh, what is receiving the action, right? So when I say John met Rohan, so John is the subject and Rohan is the object. So me, your, our, his, her, it, them, these pronouns are used as object pronouns, right? So this is very important to understand because at certain cases what is going to happen incorrectly, object pronouns would be used as subject pronouns and you would be asked to rectify the error. So that problem can only be sorted, those questions can only be solved once we have comprehensive understanding that what are the pronouns that we can put in the category of subject pronouns. That means we can use as subject in the sentences, and what are the pronouns that can be used as object pronouns. That means object in the sentences, right? Now there would be certain possessive pronouns. So what are possessive pronouns? Pronouns that show possession. Like I'll say it is our car, it is their umbrella, this book is yours, this is my money. This book is mine. So all these words, my, mine, yours, ours, these are showing belongingness, right? Possession. So that is the reason we put these pronouns in the category of possessive pronouns. Like if you're going to see this example, I am your friend. So whose friend? Your friend, right? Sally emailed me. So in this case, me is acting as what? As an object pronoun. The umbrella is mine. So in this case, mine is being used as a possessive pronoun, right? So I am your friend, I is the subject pronoun, Sally emailed me, me is the object pronoun, the umbrella is mine, mine is showing association or belongingness. So we are going to say that this is a possessive pronoun, right? Further, if we proceed, once we have learned some fundamental clarity about pronouns, let's get into the usage. Now usage is very important, paramount, and I would strongly recommend that you use your notebooks and write down these rules. These key rules are very crucial in solving the questions, right? So let's start learning the rules. Now, the first rule that you can see on the screen says use a singular pronoun to replace a singular noun and use a plural pronoun to replace a plural noun. Isn't it very logical? So I always try and explain my students that ultimately you need to understand that any aptitude exam is the test of logic. And there are only two ways to test you on logic, either through words or numbers. There is no other way to trace the logic, right? So for numbers, you have data interpretation and you have quant, but for words, you need to have verbal ability. In fact, any language. So any language has got own rules which we need to abide by, but it is a very simple thing that if you're replacing a plural noun, then the pronoun is going to be plural, and if you're replacing a singular noun, then the pronoun is going to be singular. There's no rocket science here, and there's something that you should not be boggled down with, and in fact this is very logical and understandable. So this is one rule that you would not forget, I personally believe so let's still pick some examples so that we become slightly more comfortable. So see, everyone should do their homework. So everyone is considered to be singular in nature, right? So everyone, someone, anyone, somebody, everybody, nobody, all these are singular indefinite pronouns. So in this case, there is incorrect because there is what? There is a plural pronoun. Now everyone is singular, you can't use there, so instead you'll use his or her, right? Let's pick the next example. The Labrador is one of the most intelligent breeds of dogs, but they can't help you in preparing for exams. So, out of so many breeds, we are talking about one Labrador. So, they would be incorrect. Rather, we are going to use it. So, for animals, you use it, right? Don't get worried that why are we using it for dog who's a living being. Yes, it is used for animals and for non-living things, right? So I am sure we are clear with both these examples. Wonderful. So let's continue learning and move to the next rule. So like I was saying, that when you see it, don't get boggled that why are we using it. It can be used for animals. So I have a cat, it is brown. So it is referring to cat. The color of cat is brown, right? So at times we really get worried that it cat is a non is not a non-living thing, dog is not a non-living thing. So why are we using it? It's a specific rule that for animals we use it. So pen it down so that you don't get confused. Let's move to the next usage for it. For things without life, so when I say this is your umbrella, take it away, so it is referring to umbrella. So of course for non-living things, for things without life, we will definitely use pronoun it. I hope we are clear with the usage. See, these are simple points, right? You must have encountered these rules in the junior classes, but we have collectively brought them together at this platform so that you can revise and you can accommodate and you get better equipped. You know what are the areas from where the questions can be created, right? So let's further move on. Now, it is also used for emphasis. So, emphasis means zor dena. So, take a look at this example. It was Mother Teresa who won Nobel Prize. So, we need to understand who won the Nobel Prize. It was Mother Teresa. If we remove this part, it was, just read the sentence in your mind. Mother Teresa won Nobel Peace Prize. Idea is still clear. But why are we using it was? Just to put emphasis on the idea, right? So that is the reason it is also used for emphasis. Let's learn the next use of it. It is also used for babies whose genders are not mentioned. So the baby cries when it is hungry. So I don't know whether we are talking about baby boy or baby girl. In case the gender is known, then you can use he or she, right? So only in the case when the gender is not known, then for babies you can use it. Please note it down in case you have this clarity that what is the gender of the baby. In that case, you don't need to worry. You can simply use the regular pronouns. But if you are not sure of the gender, then you can move to it. Right? So we have learned that it is used for animals, it is used for non-living things, it is used for emphasis, and it is used for babies whose gender is not known, right? So I'm sure you're clear with the usage of it, right? So please keep on revising, keep on learning so that you don't forget. Further, let's learn this rule, a very interesting rule and a very important rule. When two singular nouns, please mention, see this, that we are talking about two singular nouns. These are joined by and are preceded by each or every. Then the pronoun must be singular in number. Oh my god, this is such a long sentence. This is actually, confusing me. Let's learn through an example. So see this, officer and inspector. See the first sentence. Both officer and inspector are singular terms, right? You're joining two singular terms with the help of and. I'm sure you can see and in between. Very good. Now see, before officer we have every, before inspector we have every, right? So if you're joining two singular nouns, officer and inspector by and you have either each before it or every before it, then the pronoun you're going to use would be singular in nature. Let's take a look. Every officer and every inspector was in his office. Can you see? In his office. We're talking about officer, inspector, but we are placing the term every before both these words, and hence the pronoun we are going to use would be singular in nature. Right? Got it? Now it's not that difficult, right? So always, whenever we talk about rules, I make it a point that we have an example so that it becomes clear to you. Take another statement. Each officer and each inspector was on his duty. You can add this pronoun his so that you get better application of the rule. Now, what are we going to do? We are quickly going to note down this rule and then we are going to move ahead. So everybody, please take a minute, note down this rule so that you are acquainted, you are aware, and by noting down you will know the importance of the rule and you would have all the important points at one single place, right? So you can pause the video and you can note down the rule in, or if you're watching the video without pausing it, I'll give you a quick break of 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Please pen down the rule so that this rule stays with you. It's an important rule and usually students get confused. So read the rule again, read the example again, and quickly write it. Great. So I'm sure now you're sorted with this particular rule of pronouns. Let's further proceed. Okay, so there is an interesting rule here. When expressing a negative idea, the sequence of personal pronouns should be first person, second person, and third person. So let's see. First person means I. Okay, who's the speaker? Second person, you, with whom I'm talking to. And third person is जिसके बारे में आप बात कर रहे हो, राइट? तो फर्स्ट पर्सन मैं हूँ, सेकंड पर्सन आप है जिससे मैं बात कर रही हूँ, और थर्ड पर्सन जिसके बारे में बात हो रही है. तो ये फर्स्ट पर्सन, सेकंड पर्सन और थर्ड पर्सन होता है. तो अगर आप एक नेगेटिव आइडिया को एक्सप्रेस कर रहे हो, सो द ऑर्डर इज गोइंग टू बी फर्स्ट प्लेस यू, सो यू शुड बी द गिल्टी, राइट? सो पहले यू टेक द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, I, then the second person you, and then the third person. So 1, 2, 3. That's how you can remember. The sequence of placing the personal pronouns would be first person, second person, third person. So if you get a sentence like this, you, she, and I will be punished for wrong actions, this sequence is incorrect and hence it makes a grammatical error. What would be the right sequence? I, you, and she will be punished for the wrong action. So first person, then second person, and then third person. This is while we are expressing a negative idea. What is the negative idea? You will be punished for a wrong action. So it's a negative idea, right? So if it is a negative thought, then the sequence of placing personal pronouns would be first person, second person, and third person, right? So I hope you are sorted with this. Quickly write this rule, and then we are going to move to the next one. Everybody, please do that. Right, so these are the little details which we might not remember, but these rules will play an important role in cracking the questions, right? And the rules which are unique, which are not usually heard of, you will find many of these rules being utilized in framing questions in competitive exams. So please understand the importance of these exceptional rules or these unique rules which are usually not thought about in our day-to-day discussions, right? We would never think that this is the sequence that we should maintain. So this is usually our unawareness, or more than our unawareness, we never put a thought, right? We have never been too inclined to learn grammar and learn the application, and that is the reason there is a gap, right? Despite all of us knowing English, despite all of us being aware of knowing certain details, there is still a huge gap, and you have to fill that gap in order to crack the exam, right? Because say if this is, you get a GMAT question and this is one particular portion of the entire long sentence is being tested here, until and unless you are aware about it, you can't solve a sentence correction question which appears in GMAT, right? You need to be aware. Or if it is a simple SAT question, from coming from writing and language section, a simple application of the rule, then that can also not be cracked if you would not know the rule, because you would think that what is wrong here, there are three pronouns are connected by and, the entire sentence sequence is right. So only if you're aware of this, then only you can crack the question, right? So my concern would always be that there are certain rules which we skip, which we are not aware when we do our day-to-day communications, and if we skip these rules while preparing also, then we would not be able to see the desired results that we are expecting, right? So I'm sure we are clear with this particular rule. Everybody has noted it down, understood it, right? So let's move to the next rule. Now we have talked about a negative idea. We're also going to talk about a positive idea. So while we are expressing a positive idea, the sequence of personal pronouns should be, this is a strange sequence, right? So that was an easy one, first, second, third. Here it would be second, third, and first. So it's not entirely the reverse. 1 2 3 का 3 2 1 नहीं किया, 2 3 1 किया, right? So you have to put adequate attention here. So I, you, and she will get appreciation. This is wrong. You, she, and I will get appreciation. So what I've done is, sentence which is incorrect is marked in red, right? So that you're able to understand that, boss, this is where there's the sign of danger, and green is the right version, right? So the sequence would be second, use the second person, then the third person, and then the first person. So I always relate like this. Whenever you do mistake, you should be the first one to take responsibility. And whenever anything good happens, you should be the last one to enjoy it. So this is my way of relating to. You can have your own mnemonic or strategy to relate it, right? So quickly pen down the rule and write the example so that you're able to retain it better. Everybody, please do that. Great. So let's proceed further. Very interesting, okay? Very interesting. So let's explore this. When two or more singular nouns, please pay attention, singular nouns, are joined by or, neither nor, either or, the pronoun is generally singular. Or, neither nor, either or. Let's see. Robin runneth, two singular nouns joined by or, must do his project. When you make a sentence like this, Ronit or Robin must do their project, you'll find it absolutely right. So to your ears it would sound absolutely comfortable, but it is an error, right? So this is how you are caught. So whenever you are adding, joining two singular entities by or, neither nor, either nor, don't forget that the pronoun is going to be singular. Take one more example. Neither Ronit nor Rohit forgot to do his homework. So are you able to see Ronit, Rohit? These are two singular nouns. We are joining by neither nor. Previous case we were joining with or. So the pronoun in both the cases remains to be singular. So it's a very important rule, and most of the time students mess up because when we are talking about two singular nouns and the idea that's conveyed is plural, but the pronoun despite that is being used singular. So this is something that you should be careful about. So what are we going to do? We are quickly going to, write this rule so that it stays with us, and write one example also, right? This is very important. So I usually suggest students to write the critical rules. Do not learn everything. Like you must have realized, we're not doing a lot of classification, so we're not learning a lot of type of pronouns. Why? Because of the single reason that these are the points which might not be very frequently tested, right? Who's going to ask you about the type of pronouns? Nobody, right? But these are the rules which you can see in the questions, and you never know what is the difficulty level of the question, right? And how do they pick up the unconventional portions. So this is very, very important that you pay attention to these peculiar rules, and you are very well aware of them. You're making an effort to revise them on regular basis so that you are updated and you are well aware of them, right? So please write these rules, and then we are going to move to the next rule. Great. So let's proceed further. Let's learn the next rule. Now we talk about possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns are pronouns that show possession or belongingness. His car, her dress, their property, our house, right? Your umbrella. So these are showing belongingness, association. So apostrophes are used to show possession. Like if I'll say Ram apostrophe S car. So that means Ram's car, Ram ki car. But with possessive pronouns, we don't use an apostrophe. When I say it is his car, that means, it is already showing association. So his is not going to take an apostrophe. Yours sincerely, this is a common mistake. Common mistake in letter writing that we usually see, that whenever we do the signature, we would write yours. And that's something we would not at all want to be included. So please pay attention to this, that whenever we are talking about apostrophe with possessive pronouns, apostrophe is never used, right? So please be careful regarding this rule and don't make a mess, right? So please pen it down, and then we are going to move to the next slide. Great. So let's proceed further. Now, there was a difference in the previous rule where we were combining both the entities to be singular in nature. Here, there is one plural noun and a singular noun. So, if there is one plural noun and one is a singular noun, then the pronoun is going to be plural. So, this is simple. If both are singular, then the pronoun is going to be singular. If there is one term that you're combining with or, nor, then the pronoun is going to be plural in nature, right? So, either the manager, this is singular term, or his subordinates, which is a plural now, failed in their duty. This is simple, right? You're not going to mess up because this is actually conveying the idea of a plural, sense, plural noun. So this is something that you can retain with a singular one. Two singular terms connected with or, neither nor, either nor will take a singular pronoun. That might create confusion, but it would be an easy pill to digest, right? Isn't it? So let's further proceed. I'm sure we are acquainted with the rule. Please take a look again. we are combining two entities. Manager is singular, subordinates is plural. So if you are combining one singular and one plural term by or not, then the pronoun will be plural. You can see there is the pronoun used, which is plural in nature, right? So let's further proceed and see what is the next rule. Now, each other is used to refer to two persons or things. One another is to more than two persons or things. So, like I'll say, Brett and Dorothy are always fighting with each other. So, they're two people, right? All the countries of the world are always fighting with one another. So, this is all the countries, so more than two. Simple rule, a simple difference between each other and one another, right? So I'm sure for many of you this rule might be new, but now I'm glad you know the difference. So let's proceed. Now we talk about relative pronouns. So relative pronouns are used to combine. Like I say, I have a maths teacher. Uh, he is very sincere. So I have a maths teacher who's very sincere. So who is basically being used to combine two sentences. So that's what relative pronouns do. They combine the ideas, right? So whenever we are using relative pronoun who, that is used for persons. So like you'll take the first example, the person who is honest is trusted, right? So you can see who is being used for person. Let's take the next usage, which is used for things without life and for animals. This is the cat which my dad brought on my birthday. So, which is referring to cat, right? So, can you see which is referring to animals and which may also refer to a sentence. So, for this, take a look at the third statement. Shelley said she saw me in the museum, which was a lie. So, what was a lie? The entire sentence that she saw me in a museum, right? So, I'm sure all the three usages are clear. Who is for persons only, which is for things without life and for animals, and which can also be used to refer to the previous sentence, right? I'm sure you are clear with the usage. Time to proceed further. Now, these are the pronouns which are considered indefinite. Indefinite pronouns means that we are, uh, not sure of what are we talking about. So, when we talk about anybody, somebody, anyone, nobody, no one, someone, all these are indefinite pronouns, right? So, anybody knows the answer to that question. So, if there is indefinite pronoun and these are to be considered singular, then the verb is going to be singular. So this particular aspect, the concept that is seeing on the screen is crucial, not only just for pronouns but also for subject verb agreement, right? So see, another bus is coming soon. Are you seeing it? That the verb that we are using is singular. Anybody knows the answer to that question. We could have used everybody knows the answer to that question or nobody knows the answer to that question, right? Anyone has the ability to do this job. So any everyone has the ability to do this job. Someone has the ability to do this job. Similarly, it comes with anything. Anything is possible, something is possible, everything is possible, right? So pay attention. These are little details that that will make a huge difference. Now see, each of the kittens is different. Are you able to see? Each of the kittens is, that's where I'm using I'm considering the pronoun each of the kittens is. So kittens ke sath are will conveniently sound correct, but that's the mistake we are not going to do. So each of the kittens are different, right? So I'm sure you are clear with this. So please pen down these indefinite pronouns which are to be considered singular. Another, anybody, anyone, anything, each. So these are the pronouns which are considered singular. Okay. So if the pronouns are singular, then the verb is also going to be singular in nature. Right? So let's further proceed and learn the next set of rules. So the following indefinite pronouns are singular and must be followed by singular verbs. So either route has a gas station. Okay, everybody, like I told you. So you can simply write the pronouns that end with body, one, or thing are usually singular. So everybody is happy today. If you can make a alternate, anybody is happy today, right? Or somebody is happy today. Everyone is going on the field trip. Somebody is going to the field trip. Someone is going to the field trip. Everything has been ruined by the flood. Something has been ruined by the flood, and anything has been ruined by the flood. And less is known about this period. Again, less is considered to be singular, right? So please take care of these indefinite pronouns, as they are going to cover a lot of questions, not only based on pronouns, but also on subject verb agreement, right? So I'm sure we are sorted till here. It's time to further take a look to the next concept, right? So these are indefinite pronouns that are considered plural and must be followed by plural verbs. So this is important. Now you're taking a look at the first one, both. So this is something which is easy to digest. Again, an easy pill. Right? By just looking at both, you'll be able to identify that this is a plural thing. Both are guilty. Few were happy. So few means at least there's some number, right? Fewer are eating healthy in this time. Many were selected, others can do the job, several were capable of getting the jobs done. So, both few, fewer, many, others, several, all these are plural indefinite pronouns, and these should be followed by plural verbs. So, here we are talking about the basic fundamental of subject verb agreement, where the subject is singular, then the verb is singular, and if the subject is plural, then the verb is plural. So, when pronouns act as plural subjects, and the verb that's going to be considered would be plural in nature. So the pronouns that you're seeing on the screen, both, few, fewer, many, others, several, all these are plural in nature, and hence the verb that will go will also be plural, right? So I'm sure you are going to retain all these important points, and you are going to be friendly with the pronouns as well. Now this is very interesting, again something which you should pay adequate attention to. So these are following indefinite pronouns that can take either a singular or a plural verb depending on the nouns used. Let's see how. So see, all the boys are tired of playing, right? So boys is plural, so the verb that we are picking is plural, right? Simple. All the time has gone, so time is considered singular, so the verb that is going with it is has. It's non-countable, right? Take a look at the second one. Any choices are good. So choices plural, so the verb is going to be are. Any choice is good, so choice is singular, so the verb is going to be singular, which is in this case. Take a look at the third example. More colors are good. So you're using colors, which is a plural term, and hence the verb is going to be plural. More color is good. So in that case, color is considered singular, so the verb is going to be singular. Most of the fires are quenched. So we are using fires, so are fits in, or most of the fire is out. So fire is singular, and hence the verb is. None of the pies have been sold. So we are talking about pies. So have works well. None of the pie has been eaten. So in this case, pie is singular. Hence the verb is going to be singular in nature. Right? So these are little things that you should pay attention to. And if you will be aware, if you're going to put your heart and soul, you'll find a lot of clarity in question solving. And yes, it would require you to remember certain rules, but when you'll start solving the questions, you will see the rules getting repeated, and you'll get familiar with the rules very soon. So again, the catch is that just don't keep on revising the rules, rather revise and then apply, revise and apply, and that's how the formula of success will be created to crack the grammar questions, right? So let's further proceed. Now, very, very important concept. So the rules that we have learned with lots of examples, they were primarily associated with pronoun usage. Right now, we are introducing a very interesting concept, which is very interesting. I really like this concept because I find it very logical. The concept of pronoun ambiguity. Right. So, what is ambiguity? Ambiguity means there is some sort of a confusion. Ambiguous means something which is not clear. So it is a very simple concept which is just based on one definition, that the pronoun is a word that we use instead of a noun. And I think everybody agrees to that. Right. So when we talk about pronoun ambiguity or vague pronoun reference, it is not clear that what noun a pronoun is referring to. अब अगर आपने प्रोनाउन यूज किया नाउन की जगह, तो वो प्रोनाउन क्लियरली हमें बताना चाहिए कि वो किस नाउन के लिए यूज हुआ है. अगर एक प्रोनाउन यूज कर रहे हैं सेंटेंस में और उसके रेफरेंस का नाउन ही नहीं है, तो दैट्स अ ग्रामेटिकल एरर। या फिर आपको पता ही नहीं चल रहा कि प्रोनाउन किस नाउन के लिए यूज हो रहा है, तो वो भी इनकरेक्ट है। ये आपको बहुत लॉजिकल साउंड करेगा, राइट? सो लेट्स कंसिडर सम एग्जांपल्स टू गेट अ बेटर क्लैरिटी। दिस इज माय फेवरेट एग्जांपल। मिस जॉली गेव सैंड्रा हर परफ्यूम। अब आप देखिए, जॉली इज अ फेमिनाइन जेंडर, सैंड्रा इज अ फेमिनाइन जेंडर, और हर एक फेमिनाइन प्रोनाउन है। अब हर किसको रेफर कर सकता है? मिस जॉली ने सैंड्रा को अपना परफ्यूम दिया या सैंड्रा को उसका परफ्यूम दिया, तो हर आपको ये क्लैरिटी नहीं देता, राइट? तो हम इस सेंटेंस में ये आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पा रहे दैट whose was the perfume? Was it Jolly's perfume or Sandra's perfume? So this is pronoun ambiguity. We have one pronoun, but we are not able to identify that for which noun the pronoun is being used. Either we are using her for Miss Jolly or Sandra, and this exactly is pronoun ambiguity, right? So there is confusion. That means we are able to not gather that what the pronoun is referring to. I hope I make sense, right? So until and unless the pronoun is not able to give you this clarity, then that means we are making a fundamental mistake. I'll repeat again. Sentence में आप देखेंगे दो feminine genders हैं, तो हर सैंड्रा को भी रेफर कर सकता है, हर जॉली को भी कर सकता है। अब somebody might interpret in a flow that Jolly gave her own perfume to Sandra, or some might gather that it was Sandra's perfume which Jolly gave. So we are not clear, and hence this is a prominent peculiar error of pronoun ambiguity, right? Let's consider one more example. So, this is one place. A vague pronoun references occur when a pronoun such as it, this, that, and which refers to an implied. Implied means a hidden thing, which is not directly stated, right? So, it's implying to a hidden idea. That's not the case. The noun has to be physically present if you're wanting to use the pronoun. Let's learn and explore this by an example. See, Mr. Allen is an over enthusiastic man, but he effectively keeps it hidden. So, in the sentence, you will find two pronouns. One is he. He will refer to Mr. Allen. There is no confusion, no ambiguity, perfectly fine. It, when you logically try to interpret, you will find that, ma'am, it will refer to enthusiasm. एक बार सोच के देखिए, आपको बहुत क्लियरली लगेगा कि इट हम enthusiasm के लिए बोल रहे हैं, but enthusiasm is not present in the sentence. So how can you use a pronoun for a noun which is not present in the sentence? This will defy the basic definition. Our basic definition says that pronouns are words that you use instead of nouns. So noun has to be present if you're wanting to use pronouns. Isn't it very logical and simple? Let's read this explanation to get better hold. In this example, it refers to enthusiasm, right? I am sure everybody can gather that. Although the idea of enthusiasm is implied, yes, it is implied, the word enthusiasm is absent. Thus, the pronoun is referring to a noun which is not present in the sentence. And how can that happen? So, that makes for a logical error, right? Do I make sense, right? See how, so if you actually take a look, you'll understand that this is nothing which is, beyond your horizon of understanding. There's something which is very logical, but the only thing is that you have never thought of it. And whenever we do the questions in the exams, we are more driven by what sounds correct. It's a major flaw in our thought processes. See, when we are targeting international competitive exams or any competitive exam, there are so many people who are, participating. You go and solve a question on the basis of what sounds correct to you is a major problem, right? We can't afford this. We cannot do this. So please try and understand that this is the mistake that we are not going to make. We are going to have a solid logic. We are going to have a solid base. We are going to have solid awareness of the rules, and then only we are going to move and solve the questions, right? So let's further proceed and do some interesting questions. So it's time to practice some questions. So I'll give you a minute. Just correct these statements and then we are going to discuss them. Right? So everybody, please do that. What are we going to do? We are going to correct the statements just based on the rules that we have learned so far, and then we are going to get into the discussion. So please start doing it. Great, great. So here we see that I'm sure you must have solved. So let's discuss. Each of the contestants made their own special recipe. So I already taught you this rule that whenever we are talking about each, we are going to consider this pronoun to be singular in nature. So how are we going to correct it? Each of the contestants made his or her own special recipe, right? So statement 1, instead of there we are going to have his or we are going to have her, right? Please remember that whenever we are talking about each or everyone or someone or somebody, right, the entire list is there with you. We have discussed this in detail. We learned that these indefinite pronouns are considered to be singular, so the pronoun instead of there, which is a plural one, should be replaced by a singular pronoun. So either you can use his or you can use her. Okay, so let's move to the second example. Rocky still keeps his bicycle and jacket from school days because it reminds him of his childhood. So if you will see, Rocky is keeping two things, bicycle and jacket. So plural ho gaya. So you can't use it because the nouns are plural. So instead of it, you are going to replace they because they remind him of his childhood days, right? So I'm sure it is clear. So instead of it, because it is singular, always remember it is a singular pronoun. Now we are talking about bicycle and jacket, so the nouns here are plural, so the pronoun that's going to replace plural noun would be plural again. So instead of it remind him, you will say because they remind him of his childhood days, right? So see, these are little things, but when you will start applying, you'll find that's not that complicated. Take a look at the third example. A learner must see their mentor before turning in his assignment. So, see, we are talking about a learner. So, the noun is singular. When you will see their mentor, so there is basically what? A plural pronoun. So, if we are replacing a pronoun for a singular noun, so the pronoun is going to be singular. You can't use there, you're going to use his or her. If you will read the later part of it, before turning in his assignment, so you'll understand that his would be the better pronoun instead of her, because of course the entire sentence would go in one gender, right? So I'm sure we are clear with the third example, third question also. Let's take a look at the fourth one. Everyone should obey their parents. No, everyone should obey his or her parents. Everyone, someone, anyone, someone, something, anything, anybody, somebody. All these are singular indefinite pronouns. So if they are indefinite pronouns are singular, so you have to consider them in the same way, right? So each of the dishes are different. You are going to see it's very similar to the first example. So each of the dishes is different, right? So I already told you this rule, very crucial. That is the reason we are having two questions based on this rule, so that you are not going to forget and you are going to retain, right? So I hope we are clear with these examples, these questions. Let me quickly tell you the right answers again. Each of the contestants made his or her own special recipe. Rocky still keeps his cycle and jacket from school days because they remind him of his childhood. A learner must see his mentor before turning in his assignment. Everyone should obey his parents or her parents. Each of the dishes is different, right? So I'm sure we are sorted with these five questions. Let's move to the next set. Take a quick minute and solve these questions, and then we are going to start with the discussion. Let's start with the discussion. I'm sure you have attempted the questions. I always write yours truly when I end my email. So I did tell you that when we talk about possessive pronouns, apostrophe is not used. So your apostrophe s is incorrect. You're going to simply write yours, right? Please remember, possessive pronouns do not use apostrophe. His, her, mine, yours, their, ours, all these are pronouns that show belongingness, and hence we have a special term for them that we call possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns do not take apostrophe. Please pen it down. Don't make this mistake. It's a very common error. Please avoid making it. Let's move to the next one. Born is my friend, which is very cool. I did tell you when we were talking about relative pronouns that who is used for people, which is used for animals and non-living things, and which is also used to refer to the previous sentence. Now, in this case, born is my friend, so which would be incorrect. Rather, we are going to use who is very cool, right? So please take care whenever we are using relative pronouns for people, we use who, not which. Okay, so let's move to the next statement. Ross and Rachel always fight with one another. So instead of one another, we are going to have each other. So when we are talking about two, we are going to say each other, and we are talking about many, we are going to say one another, right? So let's move to the ninth one. Scam is my kitten who's very naughty. So we are talking about kitten, which is an animal, right? So Scam is my kitten, which is very naughty, right? So please take care of this. Come to 10th. Either Sally or Helen has learned their lesson. So whenever we are combining two singular nouns with either or, neither nor, or, we are going to consider the subject to be singular, and hence the pronoun is going to be singular. So either Sally or Helen has learned her lesson. Right? So please be careful. Let me quickly repeat the answers before we change the slide. I always write yours truly when I end my email. There is going to be no apostrophe in sentence 6. Born is my friend who is very cool. So instead of which, we are going to use who. Ross and Rachel always fight with each another, not one another. Scam is my kitten, which is very naughty. Either Sally or Helen has learned her lesson. Right? So this is a quick and interesting way to revise the rules. So let's further see, do we have more questions to solve in today's session? Wow, this is interesting. So you're given four sentences and you need to find out the sentence which is an incorrect one. So please start doing it. I'll give you a minute to look at the sentences. There are four sentences in front of you. You have to look for the incorrect one. Once you are done, we will begin with the discussion. So please do that. Let's start the discussion. I'm sure you have tried. So Ashish cheat notes got him into trouble. We have this sentence. One can't bear one's insult every time. This is the second sentence. Mr. John is my teacher who accompanied the batch for the camp. This is the third statement. Fourth is I have read poems of Milton, who is a great poet. So we'll start in the reverse order. Okay. So I have read poems of Milton, who is a great poet. So who, we are using a relative pronoun for Milton, who is a person. So this is correct. That means D is not our answer. We are looking for an incorrect statement. Let's come to sentence C. Mr. John is my teacher who accompanied the batch for the camp. So who is being used for Mr. John, who is a person. So you, who, relative pronoun who is rightly used. That means there is no error in C also. Let's come to sentence B. One cannot bears one insult every time. So whenever we use one, we use it throughout the sentence. So B is also technically correct. So we have actually reached to the right answer. The right answer is one, which is incorrect, right? So A is one sentence which is wrong. Let's see how. Ashish's cheat notes got him into trouble. So you'll see the sentence, the subject is आशीष के चीट नोट्स, आशीष नहीं. सो वी कांट यूज हिम, राइट. हिम तो आप पर्सन के लिए यूज करोगे, पर सेंटेंस में सब्जेक्ट आशीष चीट नोट्स हैं. जैसे मैं कहूँ जूहीज कार इज ग्रीन, तो नो माई कार इज नॉट ग्रीन, बट स्टिल जस्ट टू लर्न. तो हम जूही की कार की बात कर रहे हैं, जूही की बात नहीं कर रहे. सिमिलरली आशीष के चीट नोट सब्जेक्ट है, आशीष नहीं. तो हिम इनकरेक्ट हो जाएगा. इसका करेक्ट वर्जन ये हो सकता था, हिज चीट नोट्स गॉट आशीष इन ट्रबल, right? So pretty interesting, right? So I'm sure everybody is clear. So for this question, A is going to be the right answer. So let's move to the next one. Please try this. Please try this, then we are going to discuss. The flock of birds flew overhead before they swooped down. So please understand, we are talking about flock of birds. So this is a collective noun. So this is one unit. So they swoop down, they would be incorrect, right? So flock of birds is a singular entity. It's one group. So instead of they, we are going to use a singular pronoun. So A is definitely a problem. Let's move to the second sentence. Sally or Helen must do her work. So this is absolutely fine. Each of the employees has to arrange his own taxi. This is also fine. The person who stole my car is a thief. So that's also fine. So A is going to be the incorrect answer. Flock of birds एक singular term होती है, तो they plural pronoun आप उसके लिए नहीं use कर सकते. You are going to use a singular pronoun instead. So the incorrect sentence is going to be the first one. I hope we are clear here. Let's move to the next set. Please give it a try, read all the sentences and see which sentence you find to be technically incorrect. I'm sure you must have read the sentences. So each girl and every madam tried to complete her work before the given time. Second is somebody has met with the accident. So that's correct. Thomas gave his book to John. So J should be capital. It is Sachin Tendulkar who is considered the god of cricket. So the first one would be an incorrect one, right? An easy breezy question. Let's move to the next one. Please read the direction. You have to see the correct sentence, right? So at times we don't adequately pay attention to the question, and that's where we are caught. So in this case, you are going to pick the correct sentence, right? So let's start the discussion. We are looking for the right sentence. So each of the accused are culprits. I did tell you that each is considered to be a singular pronoun. So are is incorrect. The correct would be each of the accused is culprit. Either the roots have a gas station, so either the roots has a gas station. This is also incorrect. Coming to C, Mr. Atkins is an angry man, but he keeps it hidden. So you will see it refers to anger, so which is not there in the sentence. So it's an implied idea. It's an error of pronoun ambiguity. So C is also incorrect. So that leaves us with D, which is the correct answer. One must always be honest with oneself, right? So that would be the correct one, right? Let's move to the next question. So in this case also you have to choose the correct sentence among the given options. So let's quickly take a look, try it, and then we are going to discuss. So let's see. The jury was unanimous in their decision. It is incorrect because jury is a collective noun. So you are going to consider it to be singular. There is a plural pronoun. So this is an incorrect sentence. Let's come to the next one. Every chef and every waiter were ready to welcome guests in the newly launched restaurant Amber. They never fail who die in a great cause. The third is correct. Each of the birds on the tree is chirping. So we know the right answer. Let's proceed uh, to the practice part now. So you are going to practice a lot of questions and you're going to revise the fundamentals. Please ensure that consistency is the key. Don't forget that. Keep on revising, keep on practicing, make flashcards, innovate, and do a lot of questions, right? That's going to bring a lot of clarity, and you're going to learn how to implement the concepts. So I hope you really like the session, and I hope you found it useful. Please help spread the word. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourself and don't forget consistency is the key. Bye bye, see you.